G'day everyone, welcome back to the vlog. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. G'day again everyone and welcome back to the vlog. It is currently 5:30 AM here in Melbourne, and I know what you might be thinking, Lee, it seems like one of your old vlogs. What happened to the new format? Well, I'm still happy with the new format, still looking to go and improve it, but I had a bit of a mishap with my computer monitor. Accidentally knocked the thing over and this happened. Yeah, got that massive crack in the screen. Yikes. So as you might imagine, with the cracked screen, probably not going to be the best monitor to use to play poker and edit videos. So I'm going to go back and playing poker on my laptop until my new screen does arrive, which I think arrives tomorrow if the delivery site didn't lie to me. But I'm going to play a session on my laptop today, and it gives me a good reason to do a bit of a throwback, an old style vlog when I record everything on my phone. So that's the plan for today. Record this vlog on my phone and then get in 1,500 hands of online poker, and we'll get back to you with the results. But for now, I'm starving, I need a good feed. Let's go eat. Okay, it's about 7:30 AM at the moment, got a full feed in, feeling great, feeling ready to attack these poker tables. If I'm going to focus on anything specifically in today's session, it's still looking for those good spots to mix in bluffs, but just to not overdo it. If I do get caught bluffing one time, that might be a good spot to back off, but still looking for those good spots to bluff regardless of what my table image is. So without any further ado, I'm feeling ready to go. I'm gonna go play some poker. Let's get into it. Welcome back. It is about 5:30 in the afternoon in Melbourne at the moment, and I've wrapped up my third session of poker for the day. Fortunately, I was able to get in a total of 1,810 hands. So there you go. When you do take all day and you get 3 sessions in, you get a ridiculous amount of hands. It might be the most hands I've ever gotten in a single day in one of the Day-Leigh vlogs. So absolutely over the moon with that. And for my effort getting in all those hands, I did make a profit of 117 over the course of today. In terms of my gameplay grade from today's session, I'm going to go with a B+. My favourite thing about today's session was really sticking it out and really getting in a lot of volume. Even though I know I had a vlog to make, I really did find myself just being motivated to keep on playing, keep getting volume in, try and get out some interesting hands for you guys. And I do think we have a very interesting hand we're going to get into. The reason I'm not going to an A or an A+ from this session in particular is I do feel like I played a bit too passive. I played a few certain decisions a bit too safe and probably missed some good opportunities to either bet and deny equity or go for a bit of thin value, which can be good in these more passive 50-cent one games. So just can't quite go to that A grade level for today, but absolutely stoked with the volume, and it definitely prompts up my play for today's grade and satisfied with that. So gonna go with the B+. The most interesting hand from today's session starts off with the low jack opening it up to 3, and the action folds to me in the small blind, and I look down at my favourite hand in all of poker, pocket aces, so definitely going to go ahead and 3-bet. I go ahead and make it 12, and then a loose passive big blind calls, as well as the original razor. So we go 3 ways to a flop. The flop's a pretty banger one. It is A6-5, so we do flop top set. There is a flush draw out there as well. So when the action's on me, I actually think I have a pretty interesting decision here. Normally, I think this will be a great spot to go ahead and bet, such a strong hand on such a wet board, particularly with such a passive player in the big blind, but I actually take a different route this hand. I actually decide to check. And there's a few reasons I decide to check here. One is because I have the top set here, it's pretty unlikely that either of my opponents has a top pair hand that they can easily call down with. So when I check, I can sort of induce bluffs from them more. And because the board is so wet, yeah, I'm potentially missing value by not betting, but additionally, they can actually bet off with some of their draws, obviously the straight draws, flush draws on a board like this. And because the pre-flop raiser is an loose aggressive opponent, I actually think it's somewhat possible they might even just bet off a weaker one pair hand, something like pocket eights, just to sort of do a protection bet on such a wet board. So I think in that specific dynamic with one loose aggressive opponent in the mix, might be a good spot to induce a bet from them, but I wouldn't fault anyone for just going ahead and betting the hand for value, particularly with a passive player in the big blind. Regardless though, I go ahead and check, and then both the opponents check. So clearly my plan didn't work there, and then we see a turn. The turn is the 10 of hearts. The action's on me again, and I have pretty much the exact same decision I had on the flop, but it's still here on the turn, and it's another interesting decision. Again, wouldn't fault anyone for going ahead and betting here. In fact, in retrospect, I think betting might just be the best play here. It's very likely that particularly the pre-flop aggressor actually, as a loose aggressive opponent, didn't take the opportunity to bluff on the flop. I actually think it's pretty likely that they do have some showdown value, and we could just go ahead and bet here to try and get some value from that showdown value hand. However though, I decided to check, and definitely part of the reason I chose this decision is because I do think the middle position player does have some showdown value, but I actually think they're more likely to go ahead and bet it than they are to call a bet. And obviously we're loving that news when they go ahead and bet, because we can look to mix in a check raise, because there is still flush draws and straight draws we can get called by. The 10 here puts out some gut shots to like the king queen, king jack type hands that either of the opponents could have. I'm looking to get in a check raise against those hands, so I check it, and then it checks through again. Obviously not loving that news. We're still three ways to a river here, and the river is the 10 of clubs. This is a very interesting river. Not only do we make the effective nuts with our full house on the river, but the front door flush gets in and middle pair pairs. So very dynamic river. When the action's on me here, I have yet another interesting decision. It's the same decision I've had on the two previous streets, but this one's a bit different. I think if I go ahead and bet here, there is a lot of merit to it. I think it's very likely that both of the opponents has pocket nines, pocket eights in their range, which are probably going to be tempted to go ahead and call one bet at least. Actually, the big blind probably has pocket queens and pocket jacks as well, which are definitely going to call a bet. So I can go ahead and bet from those hands. Having said that though, I actually think the better play here is to just check it to look to get into check raise. And the reason I think that is because I think if either of my opponents does have a single 10, they're definitely going to go ahead and call a check raise when I've checked twice, or three times it'll be now. And I can just look to build a bigger pot when my opponent does have one of those hands. Additionally, if the big blind does have pocket queens or pocket jacks, I think they're just going to go ahead and bet that hand anyway. And they're probably going to use a bigger sizing than I would have to lead out to get called by one of those hands. So I go ahead and check it again, and then wouldn't you know, the big blind goes ahead and bets 32. The middle position player folds, and the action's back on me here. Definitely going to continue with my plan to mix in the check raise. It just comes down to what size I want to use for the check raise. The reasons I will potentially consider going smaller, if my opponent does have pocket jacks or pocket queens, they're probably going to get a bit scared off if I do rip it all in, and I can look to get max value by just raising smaller from those hands. But the reason I prefer ripping it all in, if my opponent has a 10, I think this opponent in particular is not going to get scared of whatever size I make it, being that they are loose passive. So I can just look to put them all in for about 160-ish, and that's the play I go with. I'm hoping they have a 10, and I'm hoping they're going to call off. I rip it all in, and then my opponent folds pretty quickly. So I do think it is pretty likely. They did have one of those pocket pairs, 8s, 9s, jacks or queens, and when I rip it in, it's probably going to be too hard for them to call it off there. That was the most interesting hand I played out of all the 1,810 hands from today. So hop in the comments below and let me know what you think of my play. Would you ever check top set 3 times? And even if you would, was this the run out? Were these the opponents to do it against? Hop in the comments below. Always super keen to hear your feedback on these hands I play. That's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I really do appreciate you sticking all the way to the end of the video. If you have, please hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment, let me know what you think of my play. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Next video will be getting back to the regular format when we've got my new monitor and my new webcam here to set up. Hopefully that will be banger vlogs and we'll be able to get over more hand histories. But if you like the throwback to the old style Day-Leigh vlogs, shout outs to you as well. All right, I'm out of here for now. Peace.